Good morning, everyone, and welcome today to our training. Happy Tuesday. We're going to be having a training on working with renters, the renters procedures. My name is Robert, and I am so happy that you joined us today. For those of you that are brand new agents with Elite Ocean View Realty, we do have training every Tuesday and every Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And of course, we do meet with our broker every Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So make sure that you set some time aside to join us for these trainings. We are recording our training, and we will share this recording with you later on today, as always. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please let me know, and we will answer all of your questions. If you look in the chat, I am sharing with you right now a PDF, which is a rentals procedures that we have created for you, so you can follow along when you're working with the renters, the steps that you need to take in order to make this happen. All right, so of course, you are going to need access to the MLS. Those of you that have not yet signed up with the MLS, please do so. You want to go to MiamiRealtors.com. You want to join the membership, and you will get access to the MLS. We are going to be using a variety of different services that are available to us when we work with renters. All right, so the first thing I actually want to do is I want to go over that rental procedures list that I just shared with you. So allow me 1 second to open it up here on the computer, and we're going to go ahead and review that with you. Just 1 second, please. All right, so I did share this with you guys via the chat, and if you do need a copy of this, you can always email me. This is the rental procedures with Elite Ocean View Realty. Of course, you guys can follow along by opening up the PDF that I just sent you through the chat. So the first thing that you guys need to do is establish communication with that rental lead or potential rental prospect. Whether the lead is yours or is a lead that was given to you by Elite, having communication with the renter, maybe doing some type of consultation with them is the first thing you should do. And you want to also ask if they are working with an agent. All right, that's very important. If they are working with an agent, then there's nothing else that we can do because they're already, working with someone else. If they happen to be working with an elite agent, make sure to reinforce that they are in great hands. All right, we are a team and we do cooperate with one another. All right, so you want to build rapport, of course. You want to talk to them, make a friend. You want to ask what type of properties they're interested in, and then offer to build a search within their search criteria. Now, if this is a lead that was sent to you and you claim the lead, of course, that lead already is looking for one particular property. You want to look up that property in the MLS and try and set up an appointment to go see the property. Okay. Then you want to send them listings via email, even if the property they're interested in, all right, is let's say it's not available. You want to offer a few other properties that are in their criteria. Never say, hey, the property is no longer available, and then that's it. That's the end of the story. No, you want to convert this lead. You want to convert this prospect into one of your customers. So you definitely want to offer other opportunities for them. And this is why you're going to use the MLS to send them properties via email that are in their search criteria. All right. So you're going to send them properties. And then, of course, you want to schedule properties at their earliest convenience. So you want to ask them, hey, how about this afternoon? Are you available this afternoon to go see properties? If they say yes, then great. Go ahead and schedule an appointment to go see property at their convenience. If they tell you no, tomorrow's a better day, then go ahead and schedule it for tomorrow. All right, so how do you schedule properties? Of course, you can go to the MLS. You're going to find out the contact details for the listing agent and you want to call them. If the listing agent gives you instructions, as in schedule through showing assist, then go through showing assist and schedule an appointment to see the property. Also, guys, anyone here who's brand new and you have not yet installed the Supra electronic e-key, right? The Supra e-key to your phones, please do so. Go to the app stores, download the Supra e-key, and go ahead and activate it. And this must be done after you've joined the Miami Association of Realtors. What is a Super E-key? It is an electronic lockbox that is placed on a door of the listing, and you can only open it using your mobile device. All right, so it's different from a combination lockbox. You may see a lot of rentals with combination lockboxes, but there are going to be lots of super E keys or lock boxes out there, and that you're going to need your E key to open that lockbox. Okay. After your client decides on a property, gather some information together. In most cases, you're going to need a rental application. We have sent you a copy of a rental application in your welcome email package. If you do not have a copy of a rental application, please email our help center, which is again, elitehelpcenter@gmail.com. That's elitehelpcenter@gmail.com, and we will get you a copy of the rental application. You're also going to need proof of income for your tenant. So usually they're going to ask for 3 months of proof of income, and that can come in many different formats. You can ask for 3 months of banking statements, or you can ask for 3 months of pay stubs. All right, so usually banking statements, you just want that first summary page that shows the amount of deposits that went in that month, and that should be sufficient, the beginning balance and the ending balance. So proof of income is something you need to collect from your tenant. You also need to conduct a tenant screening for each adult that is going to live in the property. Not just the adults that are leasing, but also each adult 18 and over who's going to live at the property. So full tenant screening, I will show you how to gain access to tenant screenings later in our class. So is the rental application the same as the contract to lease? This is a question on a chat. So no, it's not. So a rental application is just a collection of information. It's a collection of information from the tenant. The contract to lease is actually the offer that you will prepare to send over to the listing agent. All right, so it's actually different. Yep. All right, so again, anyone over the age of 18 you're going to be required to get a tenant screening, which will include a full credit check and a criminal background check. I do want to mention that the credit check does not harm the credit score. It does not affect credit scores whatsoever. It's just a credit check. You are not applying for any type of loan. So it does not affect any type of credit scores. Okay. You are going to need a copy of identification for each applicant, and then a fully prepared contract to lease, which in our industry, we refer to as CTL. So every time you hear CTL, know that it is a contract to lease. All right. We are going to use Form Simplicity to prepare that CTL through our Elite Ocean View rental package inside of Form Simplicity. I will show you where that is located. Then you're going to send all documents as a package to the listing agent. So see what is involved, right? Everything that's involved in order to submit that package, okay, or that offer. So yes, go see the property, but as soon as you see the property, let your tenant know that they're going to have to gather all this information. So go ahead and gather all this information so you are ready to submit that offer once your tenant decides on a property. Every property they see is going to require 3 months of proof of income and a tenant screening. So you might as well get that out of the way rather quickly. Okay. So send all documents as a package to the listing agent. Now, once the offer is accepted, you need to collect a deposit in escrow made out to Elite Ocean View Realty. Escrows or deposits are acceptable in cashier's checks or money orders, or you can use the Earnest app, which is an app that allows tenants to deposit the escrow electronically. So, three ways that we're going to collect escrow: one, a cashier's check; two, money orders; or three, through the Earnest app. So, please take some time and download the Earnest app. It is spelled just like this: EARNNEST. You want to download the Earnest app. You want to go ahead and register, and you want to register under Elite Ocean View Realty. And then it's simple. You are now working with a tenant, and you need to collect that first month of escrow, and you're going to request the tenant to deposit, let's say, $3,000 into an Earnest account for Elite Ocean View Realty. All right. Now, you can also, those cashier's checks or money orders, you can collect them yourself, and then you need to bring them to the Miami Beach office or the Coral Gables office, and then you will send an email to elitehelpcenter@gmail.com, and you should also copy Teo, our broker, Teo at eliteoceanviewrealty.com. Alert them of the check's location. If you want to, you can also copy me. You guys all know my email by now. And I will also make sure that the check gets deposited. Okay. Let me check here the chat real quick. All right. So, question: all 3 months go on escrow or just the security and last? Actually, it's only the first month that you collect as a deposit, and that's the only thing that goes in escrow. Okay. So, the first month, let's say the rent is $3,000 a month, you're going to collect a $3,000 check once the offer is accepted, and that goes in escrow. The other 2 months are going to be paid directly to the landlord the day of the move-in. So the day that you actually conduct the move-in, the tenant needs to provide the landlord with a cashier's check for the remaining 2 months. And then we here at Elite Ocean View Realty, we will disperse the commissions or the compensation to the listing brokerage. All right. So in the event that there is a fast move-in within 3 and 5 days, escrows do not need to be collected. All funds can be collected at move-in. So how does that work? All right, let's say we have a rapid move-in. We need to move in by Friday. We found the property. Today's Tuesday. All right, so on Friday, the day of the move-in, the tenant needs to provide three cashier's checks: one for Elite Ocean View Realty for our compensation, one for the other brokerage for their compensation, and one for the landlord for the 2 remaining months. All right, so that's in the event that there is a quick move-in, a rapid move-in. Otherwise, if it's going to be 2, 3 weeks down the road, then yes, go ahead and collect escrow. We hold escrow, and we'll disperse the funds at move-in. Okay. You want to send a signed CTL and proof of escrow to Elite Help Center. All right. You also want to copy our broker tail. And once again, I didn't write it on the procedures, but usually if you want to copy me so I can stay on top of what's going on and I can assist you with any situation that you may have. Okay. You want to review all of your clients' sign and lease agreement. So basically, after the CTL is done, a lease agreement is going to be sent to you by the listing agent. All right. And then you're going to review that lease agreement. You're going to have your client sign a lease agreement. Once the lease is signed, then you want to schedule a day of walkthrough. That's usually the move-in day. All right. So at walkthrough, right? So at walkthrough, you want to send an email of the signed lease agreement, the CTL, and a completed disbursement form to Elite Transaction Coordinator. Notice there's a difference now in the email. All right. So in order to close on a property, you do need to take the payment that you're going to give the other brokerage because we're holding full escrow. So you're going to do this by submitting a disbursement form, which was sent to you guys in your welcome package, but you can always email us and we'll send you a copy of the disbursement form. Also, every Monday, all right, every Monday of every week, we do email out copies of the disbursement forms. So you guys will always see a copy of the disbursement form in your emails every Monday. So you are going to email a signed lease, the CTL, and a completed disbursement form to Elite Transaction Coordinator, and that is eliteofficetc@gmail.com. And let them know that you are closing a rental on given day. Now, this must be done at least 72 hours before the actual move-in, so we can prepare a check and you can pick up the check so you can give it to the listing brokerage. Okay? It cannot be done on the same day. It's too short of notice. Right? A check will be prepared and for the listing office and left for you to pick up either at the Miami Beach office or the Coral Gables office. All right, so at walkthrough, you're going to complete the walkthrough inspection form, which was also sent to you in the welcome package. If you need another copy of the walkthrough inspection form, please let us know. We will email it to you. You're going to also collect the Elite transaction fee of $95 from your customer. Okay. You're going to leave at our office the transaction fee of $95, and it could also be collected during escrow, right? During deposit. So once again, let's say the rent is $3,000 at the time of deposit, go ahead and collect $3,095, right? Like that, you are already collecting the transaction fee from your customer. If that does not take place at deposit, then make sure at walkthrough you do collect a cashier's check or money order from your customer of $95 for the Elite transaction fee. If you do not collect the $95, it will be deducted from your commission. Okay. Lastly, you want to send the walkthrough inspection form to our transaction coordinator to secure your commission payment. All right, so we will not disperse your commission unless a walkthrough inspection form has been submitted. Okay, now this is the contract to lease. All right, the contract to lease can be found inside of Form Simplicity. All right, but I went ahead and helped you fill it out. And as you can see right here, it's very simple, guys. Up at top, the landlord, you're going to put the owner's name. Then line number 2, you're going to put in your tenant's name. And then here, you're going to place the date that the offer expires. All right, so don't leave an open-ended offer for a week because you need to secure a property for your customers. So go ahead and place here a date, maybe 2 or 3 days, where your offer is valid. And then when you reach this date, your offer now is expired. Okay. Right here, paragraph number 2, this is where you place the deposit that you are collecting. Now notice, it says right here, Elite Ocean View Realty is going to collect the deposit upon acceptance of the contract to lease. So you never collect a deposit prior to your offer being accepted. All right, you got to wait until the offer is accepted, signed by the landlord, to then continue with the collection of escrow. Line number 3, you're going to place the property address. All right. And then underneath, you're going to also place the names of other occupants that are not going to be on the lease. So, for example, if it's a family of 4, husband and wife, and 2 children, right here, you're going to place the names of the children or anyone else living in the property that's not part of the lease. Okay. Number 4 is the date that the lease will begin and the date that the lease will end. Number 5, all right, is the total due at move-in. So how much money is due at move-in? So again, if the rent is $3,000 a month, then the total due at move-in, remember you collected $3,000 already. So the total due at move-in would be $6,000. Right? Well, anyways, the CTL itself will actually auto-populate the information here. So you'll see it once we go into Form Simplicity. And then you're going to continue by saying first month's deposit. You're going to place it here, and it's due upon acceptance of the offer. Last month's deposit, security deposit, due at move-in. All right. So always due at move-in, and it goes directly to the landlord. And then make sure that we are collecting the $95 transaction fee, and it can be collected at escrow or during move-in. All right. Down here, you're going to collect the first month, right? First month's rent is going to be credited as a deposit. And then down here, number 6, all the way to the right is the total rent paid for the lease term. So once again, if it is $3,000 a month, you're going to multiply that times 12 months. And the total should be $36,000. So right here, you're going to be putting $36,000 if your rent is $3,000 a month. Or just go ahead and multiply the monthly rent times 12 and you put the total here. And then underneath here, you're going to say that the rent is due monthly on the first day of the month. And the total rent is, in this case, once again, $3,000. You place it right here. All right. Number 7, pets prohibited or permitted. If pets are permitted, go ahead and say as described in the MLS listing. So if your client has pets and they allow pets at the property, then you're going to say permitted as described in the MLS listing. Otherwise, go ahead and just put in prohibited. Smoking prohibited. All right, number 9, utilities. Okay, so utilities right here. The tenant is going to pay for all utilities except, and you have over here water, sewer, garbage, whatever utilities are going to be covered by the landlord. All right, that's just an example. And then right here, maintenance, landlord is going to be responsible for maintaining and repairing of the property, except for the air conditioning filters, which is going to be repaired by the tenant, right? A tenant or anyone living at the property should replace the AC filters once a month. All right, if there is an application fee, in most cases there will be an application fee. You're going to place your application fee, and if it's $100, if it's $150, you're going to place it here. And by which day is that application fee due? Usually it's due upon acceptance of the CTL. Any additional requests from the tenant, you're going to place it under additional terms. And then lastly, go ahead and have your prospective tenant sign it, and then send this with the entire package to the listing agent so we can have the prospective landlord sign it. And then once the landlord signs it, you now have an executed CTL, and you now have the green light to proceed. All right. This is a copy of a disbursement form, guys. This is how you should prepare a disbursement form for rentals. All right. So we have the agent name, that would be your name, the address of the property, whether this was an elite lead, yes or no. So if Elite Ocean View Realty provided you the lead, you're going to say yes. If this is one of your own leads, you're going to say no. And then, of course, you are going to mark that this is a rental transaction. All right. And then right here, please specify the amount received by Elite, not your commission split. So again, in the event that the rent is $3,000 and you collected $3,095 for the transaction fee as well, then you're going to place your $3,095. That's the amount collected in escrow by Elite Ocean View Realty. And then you're going to let us know how you collected it. Is it held in escrow in the operating account? Was it sent by email? Or was it left at either the Miami Beach location or Coral Gables location? So if you collected it using Earnest, you're going to go ahead and say that it was wired to our operating account. All right. Held in escrow or sent by mail or left at the Miami Beach office or Coral Gables office. Let us know. Okay, transaction broker fee, collected, yes, and it's $4.95 for a sales or $95 for a rental. So you're gonna go ahead and put in here $95. Yes, it was collected during escrow, or it's gonna be collected at walkthrough. Okay, for rentals only, amount held in escrow, it's usually 1 month. So you're gonna say here amount held in escrow, it's gonna be $3,000, right? And then the broker split right here, you're going to say yes. and amount of split, how much it goes to the other brokerage, right? The listing agent brokerage. So if it's $3,000 rent and the brokerage split is half a month, then you're going to place here $1,500. That means that we are going to cut a check for the listing brokerage for $1,500. You will be paid your commission through direct deposit after your broker split. All right, then down here, are you a mentee? Do you have a mentor? If yes, then who is your mentor's name? Then no, if you do not have a mentor. And then go ahead and sign it and date it. This is your completed disbursement form, guys. Go ahead and open it, practice. So when it's time to submit a disbursement form, you guys know exactly how to submit one. All right, and this is the walkthrough inspection form. Once again, this is a very important form for rentals and for sales transactions. You will not get paid until you submit one of these. It's very simple. You put in your buyer or tenant name, seller or landlord name, the address of the property, the items of the property that you inspected, anything that's in good and operational conditions, you're going to place here. And if there's anything, anything that's not in good or operational conditions, you place here. So let's say you did the walkthrough inspection and there was issues with the dishwasher. Then you want to go ahead and place your dishwasher. And then of course your buyer tenant will sign off on it. Okay, this is the walkthrough inspection form. You usually do this at walkthrough. So if you're a brand new agent at move-in, both you, your tenant, and also the listing broker is going to be present at the property, and you should do a walkthrough inspection of the entire property together. All right, so your tenant is not to blame for something that was previously broken. Okay, that's what the walkthrough inspection is for. All right, guys. So if you have any questions on the rental procedures or the templates that we just shared with you, please let me know. And I will, answer your questions because I am going to move on to other steps that we'll take with our renters. Okay.
I have a question, Robert. Good morning.
Sure. Good morning.
Good morning, class. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, based off of an experience that I had already, when we collect the documents and send over to the listing agent and everything gets approved, if it's an association, can you let them know that the tenant or we might have to take the paperwork down to the association for approval as well?
Yes, absolutely. So in most cases, when you are renting either in a condo, townhome, or HOA, there is going to be an association approval period. And your tenant, after having the lease signed, you need to have the lease signed, not just the CTL, but after you have the lease signed, your tenant needs to then apply with that HOA or that condo association and wait for an interview or some type of approval process before they can move in. Correct. Okay, so allow yourself some time. There hardly is you can't do a rapid move-in when it's a condo or an HOA. All right, that's just not possible. Usually they tell you it takes between 1 to 2 weeks for approval. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Hi, I have a
You're
question.
welcome.
Sure.
It's Christelle. On the walkthrough inspection form, the last portion, the last section, it says buyer tenant date,
Right.
and then again buyer tenant date. Should it be more? Should it be seller landlord instead?
No. So
Buyer tenant again.
they do their own inspection. So the seller landlord does their own inspection and the buyer tenant does their own inspection.
So who signs? So the tenant signs twice?
Well, I mean, if you have two tenants, if you have
Oh, got
husband
it.
and wife or two tenants that are going to be signing, yes.
Okay. And if you are the listing agent of a rental property, what document do you use?
Gonna discuss that once I get into form simplicity.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. All right, great question. All right, guys, so let me stop sharing here. Let me open up Form Simplicity and let's get started with the forms. All right, so this is Form Simplicity, guys. We do have classes on Form Simplicity. We have classes on the e-sign. We also have classes already inside of our YouTube channel that you can watch on Form Simplicity. Where do you locate Form Simplicity? It's in your Miami gateway of services. So all of the services that you get with the association, you'll find Form Simplicity right here. Okay, so once that opens up, this is where we have all of our forms. Now, we make it easy for you. We have grouped all the forms in what's called packages. So you're going to go here to blank forms, and then you're going to click on forms packages. Take a look right here. Forms packages. Go ahead and click there. All right. And then, like I said, we've made it easy. Are you working with the buyer? Then you'll need the buyer package. Are you working a commercial transaction? You'll need the commercial. Are you working as a listing agent with a sale? Then you need the exclusive right to sell package. Are you working with a landlord to list their property? Then you'll need the exclusive right to lease package. Are you working with a tenant? Then you'll need the lease package. Okay. And then right here, we have the purchase contract as is. That's another package we have when you're working with a buyer. Okay, so let's open up the exclusive right to lease package, which is right here. And if you are going to list a lease, then this is what you need, the exclusive right to lease listing agreement. All right, that's the only thing you're going to need. You're going to go ahead and get it signed by the landlord. And now you can place the listing in the MLS. All right, so that was to answer the question that was just asked. All right, I'm going to go back.
Robert, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do we have to pay to list the property on the MLS, or that comes up with our membership?
No, of course. Yeah, that comes with your membership. So once you have access to the
Okay.
MLS, you can, as long as you have the proper documentation signed by the owner of the property, you can go
Uh-huh.
list the property in the MLS.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if you're representing the tenant, then you're going to need the lease package, which is right here. You're going to open that up. And then here's the contract to lease. And then here is the residential lease for a single family home or the residential lease for a condo or townhome or duplex. All right. So the contract to lease is going to be the more important one. You're going to need that one. The residential lease itself usually will be sent to you by the listing brokerage, right? It'll be prepared because the terms of the lease are going to be set forth by the landlord. So you don't prepare the lease yourself. You let them prepare the lease with the terms that are set forth by the landlord, and then your tenant just needs to sign the lease to come to an agreement to lease the property, and then we move forward with the actual move-in. All right, so as a agent representing the tenant, you will need the contract to lease. That's your offer. Okay. And it's inside of the lease package. All right. Now, how do we start a transaction? It's very simple, guys. Let's say that we are in the MLS. This is Matrix. This is the MLS. Okay. And let me go ahead and just pull up here a lease. All right. So this is a residential lease. Yeah, it's a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Okay, so all you need to do is look up here above the picture. There's the little symbol for FS, which is Form Simplicity. You're gonna go ahead and click that. It is now gonna open up Form Simplicity. It's going to populate all the information, right, as you see here. And then go ahead and put in the landlord's name. So you're gonna look up who the landlord is. In this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in ABC. All right, but you are going to go ahead and look up the landlord's name in public record. And then right here, that's the listing agent. And then the purchase price, $3,600. So $3,600 is the lease amount. So you place 3,600 here. And then your buyer tenant name. All right, I'm just going to go with Michael Jordan here. Okay. That is your tenant or buyer name. In this case, is the tenant name. And then, of course, your information is going to be located down here. You're going to save this information to the transaction. Okay, is this a new transaction? Yes, it is. So you're going to name your transaction right here the same as the street address. All right, you're going to name your transaction the same as the street address. The property type is residential. The transaction type is a lease, right? Transaction type is a lease. And then you're going to save this information to a new transaction. Now that you have the transaction created, now it's time to add the contract to lease. Watch this, guys. All you need to do is go to Forms. You're going to click on Add Form Package. You're going to open the lease package. All right. And you don't have to add all of these. Simply just go ahead and uncheck everything and add the contract to lease by itself, and then uncheck everything down here. You do not need to add all of this either. Okay. Just add the contract to lease. Add to a transaction, continue, and your CTL is now part of your transaction. There it is. Okay. You open it by clicking on it. You open it. It's going to open now the CTL, and it's going to populate all the information. All right. So it's going to populate all the information. As you see here, the landlord name is ABC, right? And your tenant name is Michael Jordan. Okay. So how much is the deposit? It's $3,600. So $3,600, you're going to place it right there. Collected by who? Elite Ocean View Realty. When? Upon acceptance of this contract to lease. Never collect the deposit before the contract to lease is signed. Okay. Always after the CTL is signed by the landlord. Not after it's signed by your tenant, but after it's an executed offer. And then property address. And then once again here, you're going to name those individuals that are also going to live at the property, but are not part of the lease. So if Michael Jordan is the only leaseholder, but Michael Jordan lives with his kids, then you're going to have to name his kids down here in at the space provided in line 3. All right. Lease term will begin on, and then you put the date that the lease will begin, and then you're going to put the date of the lease will end. And then notice how it only has a number 5 total sum of $95. Watch how this is going to change once we start adding values here. So the first month is once again $3,600. So you see how it changed up here? The last month's rent, okay? You're also gonna that's part of the lease. So last month's rent, $3,600. Security deposit, okay, $3,600. So now we have $3,600 times 3. That's a total of $10,895. Here, you're gonna always write upon acceptance of the CTL. All right, and then here you're gonna write at move-in. All right, so when is move-in? So let's say that you said that you're gonna be moving in on August 15th. So then right here, you're gonna put in August 15th. Okay. Very simple. The only thing due before move-in is going to be the deposit or the first month's rent. And then these two right here are going to be due at move-in. This one here can be due upon acceptance of CTL. All right. Is anything going to be credited towards the deposit? Yes, the first month. All right, that's the only thing you fill out here is the first month. Now come over here, rent payments. As I mentioned, you're going to multiply $3,600 times 12. All right, so $3,600 times 12. Doing the quick math here is $43,200. So $43,200. And that is the amount of a yearly term. And then the lease is going to be paid on the first of every month. And it's going to be, once again, $3,600. All right. Decide whether pets are permitted or prohibited. It's very simple. Just go over here to the MLS. All right. And then look for pets. You know, even me, as experienced as I am, I always lose it. So where's pets here? It's somewhere. There you go. Pets, yes. And there is a pet deposit fee of $500. And it's non-refundable. All right. So you're going to come over here and say pets are permitted as described in the MLS listing. All right. Utilities, once again, any utilities that are going to be paid by the landlord, you're going to place it here. And then any fixes that are going to be paid by the tenant, like the AC filter, you're going to place it here. Is there an application fee? Again, go ahead and go back to the MLS listing. And is there an application fee here? There is an application fee right there of $150. So you come back over here to the CTL. You're going to put in here $150. That application fee needs to be paid, usually upon acceptance of the CTL. Or you can just say, if today's date is the 29th, probably by like a week before moving, a week before moving. And that's it, folks. Go ahead and have your tenant sign it, and then go ahead and present it to your to the listing agent. Okay. How do you have it signed? I'm gonna go ahead and save this here. I'll have it saved. And of course, you're gonna close it, right? You're gonna close it right here. How do you have it signed? You can do it one of many different ways. You can select it, you can email it, you can download a copy so you can email it from your very own email. You can, of course, print it, have it signed manually, or you can use the e-sign feature. All right, the e-sign feature does cost about $80 a year. So you'll need to upgrade your form simplicity, pay for the e-sign. And once you pay for the e-sign, now you can have it signed electronically. All right, we're not going to cover that in today's class. We do have that type of training when we hold a form simplicity training. All right, but once you have it signed, now you get everything together in a package and you send it to the listing brokerage. All right, going to answer a question I see here in the chat. If the tenant has a pet, do you add the $500 to the list of fees? Absolutely. It's a great question. So if the tenant does have a pet, they are going to have to come up with an additional $500. It is going to be part of the fees that are collected. And there's another space provided, right? I mean, let me open it up here. There was another space provided for that, and that's going to be right here. All right, so pet fee, you're gonna put here pet fee, $500, and then collected usually on the day of move-in. All right, on the day of move-in, you're gonna also submit the $500 pet fee. All right, great question. All right, guys, so let me go ahead and show you from the Miami Gateway the services that you guys can use for tenant screenings. Okay. It is very important that we know how to run a tenant screening for all of our tenants, even though an association may run their own screening. We need to have our own screening in hand to present an offer, because the difference is the screening that we have is going to be seen by the landlord. And the landlord is going to decide based on the screening and how solid the offer is, whether they accept the offer or not. The other screening that's going to take place with those $150 application fee is going to be done by the HOA. So the HOA is also going to do a screening and decide whether or not to approve the tenant or not. In most cases, every tenant is approved, guys, by the HOA. All right. I mean, it's really up to the landlord whether they want to approve the tenant or not. In most cases, that application for the HOA is just a standard procedure, and usually everyone's approved. Okay. So from your gateway, there are several services here that you may want to use for tenant screenings. All right, so where are they located? All right, I'm going to come up here and we're going to show you. You're going to look through all these services and you're going to look for one landlord station. To me, that's my favorite one. Landlord station provides you one free tenant screening per month. All right, so when you sign up, all you need to do is come over here on the left, place your name, company, email address, create a password, and start your Miami service. So once you start your landlord station service, you're going to receive one free tenant screening per month, one property per month for free, and any other tenant screening that you need to do in that particular month, it's going to cost you $22. All right. So yes, you do get one for free, but if you're going to work with a lot of tenants, you're going to charge your tenant for the tenant screenings. As a matter of fact, you don't have to charge them. When you prepare a screening or when you request a screening, it gives you the option to have the tenant pay for it. Yes, guys, you want to have the tenant pay for it. Don't collect money yourself. Okay. And don't pay for it yourself either. Okay. So landlord station is one. There is another one here called My Rental Tenant Screening. That's actually a la carte. So you're going to have to decide what type of screening you want, and you're going to have to pay per service. And here there's a brand new one called Rental Beast Tenant Screening. You can use that one. You can also use another popular one that most people use, and it's Rent Spree. Rent Spree is actually $39 for a full screening. What is a full screening? Credit check, criminal background check, and tenant eviction report. All right, so you have a full check right here under the rent spree. You have the criminal background check and the credit check with landlord station. The eviction report is separate. I believe it's like $10 more for the eviction report. Okay. So once you schedule the tenant screening and the tenant now receives the email, they're going to go ahead and enter the data that is asked, usually their social security number, right? Their driver's license number, things like that. The tenant screening will be performed. Once it's completed, you will then receive an email that's saying that the tenant screening is prepared. And then you're going to also log into the system that you used and download the report. All right, very simple to use, guys. If you don't have any tenants right now, if you want to practice, you can always practice with yourself. Use that free tenant screening from Landlord Station, practice with yourself, see what the credit report looks like, see what the criminal background check looks like. All right, so that's gonna be your tenant screening, guys, and that's what you're gonna use. Once again, get a copy of their identification cards, right? Their licenses or their passports, some type of identification. Also, get together all of their banking statements and to be exact, 3 banking statements, and get everything together in a package and send it over to the listing agent. All right. So once the listing agent has then have their landlord sign it, right? Now you have an executed offer. The next step is that they're going to send you the actual lease. All right. Now the lease is a lot larger form or document. All right. I'm going to go ahead and show you what the lease looks like. Let me go back to my transaction here. Hey, where did my transaction go? My filters. Let me go ahead and refresh this. Oh, I see my transaction. Here it is. Never mind. Here it is. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add here from the forms package. I want to add the lease agreement just because I want to show it to you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and add the residential lease. And this one is for what? A condo, so an apartment, right? So you're gonna add that. And let's take a look. Open this up. And this is what the lease agreement looks like. Again, it's usually prepared by the listing agent and the landlord, and then sent over to you and sent over to your tenant. Okay. So the first page is pretty much a non-lawyer disclosure. It was prepared by a non-lawyer, right? And they're gonna be putting here the name of the client. They're gonna be putting their name, and then the fact that they can read English or that they needed a translator, and it's gonna be signed by the landlord or tenant signature here, and the licensee signature, right? So whoever prepared this lease is gonna sign it, not the tenant themselves, but whoever prepared the lease. And then, of course, the tenant will sign here. All right, so you have the landlord sign, and then you have the tenant sign, and then licensee signature, whoever prepared it here. All right, so this is what the lease looks like, guys. Please review it. It's about 20, I want to say about 22 pages long. And if you look here, you're going to see landlord's email address, landlord's telephone number, tenant's email address, tenant's phone number. So this is why it's important to give them a rental application, because they're going to grab all the information and they're going to place it here. If you don't give them a rental application, they wouldn't know your client's email address. They wouldn't know your client's phone number. Okay. This lease is for 12 months or 6 months. All right, starting on, ending on what day? It's between ABC, the landlord, and Michael Jordan, the tenant. Okay, and then the rent is due on the first day of each month. The rent will be $3,600. They're gonna place it here. Okay, tenant shall pay the lease for each installment. Lease begins, so you're gonna place that there as well. And then just follow through. I mean, they're going to be sending you this and they're going to be preparing it for you. Just make sure that you read through the lease, read through the different terms, and have your client always sign it, initial each page at the bottom. All right, it's a very simple lease, guys. Go through it. Make sure that everything is signed. Now, this page, pay attention to this page right here. All right, this is the only page that you will sign. And it's going to be right here, agent signature. All right, so there, the listing agent will sign over here, and then you will sign over here. This is the only page that you, the tenant agent, will sign. And that's page number 5 of a 20-page lease. All right. Simple enough, guys. Just go through the lease, make sure that you know what it looks like, because when it is sent to you, it's going to be sent to you fully prepared. All your tenant needs to do is sign it. Any questions on the lease? All right. So once your lease is now executed, if there is an association, you need your tenant to go ahead and apply for the association. If there is no association and you have move in on August 15th, then make sure that you send the signed lease agreement with the disbursement form and your CTL to our transaction coordinator. You want to make sure you copy me, and we will prepare the disbursement for this transaction. All right. Guys, if you have any questions, you can always contact me. I am available to assist you with all of your questions. This is going to be the end of our training on working with renters. Okay. Does anyone have any questions now?
Thank you, Robert.
We're
No
good. All right. So yeah, it's some steps, guys. It's some steps that we have to take. Obviously, practice makes perfect. So you guys have access to form simplicity. So just go ahead and practice the same way I just did right now. Didn't really work with a tenant right now, but we did some role playing and we went through the procedures. So go ahead and practice. So when you are now facing a real life situation with a tenant, you know exactly what to do. All right. Your tenant screenings, the proof of incomes, the copies of their identification, of course, the rental application, and the contract to lease. It's all required in order to submit an offer. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining us for today's class. As a reminder, we also have another class called Buyer or Working with Buyers, and we have a class called Working with Sellers. So we do go over each scenario when you work with the different types of clients. So look out for that. I will send you all the recording of this class later this afternoon through our group chats. So look out for that as well. Guys, thank you so much for joining today's class. I want to wish everyone a great day, and I'll see you on Thursday for our next training.
Thank you, Robert. Bye.
Bye for now.